How do you know you're not dreaming right now? It's a disarming question, one that has challenged philosophers, neuroscientists, and mystics for centuries. When you dream, the events feel real. You taste, touch, and move through spaces that appear coherent. Yet upon waking, you realize those sensations were generated entirely within your mind. Now ask, what if your waking life operates by the same mechanism, a higher-order dream held together by perception? Modern neuroscience supports this possibility. Cognitive scientist Anil Seth describes consciousness as a controlled hallucination, the brain's continuous attempt to predict and model sensory input. You don't directly see reality. You perceive the brain's best guess of it, filtered through expectation and memory, 800 years before this idea reached neuroscience. The Sufi philosopher Ibn Arabi proposed a similar claim, that the cosmos itself is a dream in the mind of God, and that human existence is a dream within that dream. This lecture explores Ibn Arabi's rational model of existence, one that unites metaphysics with cognition to ask a profound question. If everything we experience is a dream, what is truly real? Modern psychology shows that humans rarely encounter the world as it is. We experience it as a projection of our own interpretations. Cognitive biases such as confirmation bias, attention bias, and narrative bias shape perception long before reason enters the scene. We don't perceive facts. We perceive meanings that our minds assign to them. In the digital era, this distortion has reached collective scale. Our perceptions are mediated by screens, algorithms, and echo chambers that reinforce existing beliefs. Each individual now inhabits a personalized reality tunnel, a form of mass lucid dream guided by data rather than awareness. Neuroscience deepens this insight. The default mode network, a set of brain regions active during self-referential thought, constructs our ongoing sense of I, the narrator of experience. When this network quiets down, such as in deep meditation, psychedelic states, or near-death experiences, people often report the dissolution of boundaries between self and world. The perceived solidity of reality momentarily disappears. This reveals a striking truth. Our sense of reality is a mental continuity, not a physical certainty. Ibn Arabi identified the same condition centuries ago. He called it the confusion of appearance with being. Humanity, he wrote, chases the shadow and forgets the light. Only one reality endures, the divine awareness within which all perceptions arise. Ibn Arabi was one of history's most rigorous metaphysicians, a philosopher, mystic, and scholar who sought to reconcile reason with revelation. Born in Murcia, in Muslim Spain, and educated across the Islamic world, he is known as Al-Sheikh Al-Akbar, the greatest master. His intellectual project aimed to describe how existence can be simultaneously real and unreal. Real as a manifestation of divine being, unreal as an independent entity. He termed this the doctrine of Wadat al-Wujud, or unity of being. In essence, all multiplicity and differentiation are the self-expression of one consciousness appearing in infinite forms. In today's terms, his framework parallels the debates of panpsychism, which argues that consciousness is fundamental to matter, simulation theory, which proposes reality as an informational rendering, and phenomenology, which studies experience as the ground of all knowing. For Ibn Arabi, existence itself is imagination, not fiction, but ontological imagination. He described the universe as unfolding within an intermediary realm called barzakh, a boundary that is neither fully material nor purely spiritual. This is not unlike the modern concept of a simulation or virtual rendering, where data continuously updates to maintain experiential coherence. Just as a computer screen displays dynamic images dependent on underlying code, existence displays phenomena dependent on consciousness. He wrote that the relationship between God and the world is like that between a dreamer and the dream. The dream has structure, meaning, and emotional weight, yet it remains inseparable from the dreamer's mind. Similarly, the universe is coherent and functional, but its foundation is not material, it is awareness itself. Modern neuroscience provides a striking parallel through predictive processing theory. The brain doesn't passively receive reality, it constructs it. Sensory input is noisy and incomplete, so the brain predicts what should be there and corrects errors in real time. This process, known as perceptual inference, means that your experience of color, depth, and even time is a model, not the world itself in this light. Ibn Arabi's insight gains new rational ground. What you call reality is a dreaming process sustained by consciousness. You are not simply inside the world is happening inside awareness. And if you are being dreamed by existence, then who or what is the dreamer? Ibn Arabi teaches that the individual self, the I that says I am, is not an autonomous substance, but a mirror reflecting the divine act of perception. He writes that the soul is a locus of manifestation through which God knows himself. Your consciousness is not separate from the whole. It is the point at which the whole becomes self-aware. Modern cognitive science aligns with this view. Philosopher Thomas Metzinger argues that the sense of self is a neural model, a transparent interface generated by the brain to navigate the world. There is perception, but no independent observer inside the head. A useful analogy is dreaming. The dream self believes, it acts freely, unaware that it is entirely produced by the dreamer's mind. Likewise, the waking self experiences autonomy, yet every thought, desire, and intention arises within a field of awareness it did not create. Thus, the I is a reflection, not the source. It is an image in the mirror, animated by the light of consciousness. Recognizing this does not erase individuality. It clarifies that individuality is a mode of knowing, not a permanent entity. If the self is not ultimately real, Ibn Arabi asks, what purpose does this illusion serve? The illusion of separateness, Ibn Arabi suggests, is not a flaw, it is a design feature of existence. It allows the one to experience relationship, contrast, and self. He draws on a famous saying of the Prophet, I was a hidden treasure and loved to be known. Creation, therefore, is the mirror in which the hidden treasure becomes visible. Through multiplicity, the divine contemplates its own attributes, compassion through the compassionate, beauty through the beautiful, and power through the powerful. Psychologically, this process mirrors human development. A child forms self-awareness only by distinguishing self from other. Identity arises through interaction and reflection. Without the mirror of others, consciousness remains undifferentiated. Neuroscience also supports this relational design. The self-other distinction is encoded through feedback loops between cortical regions. Perception literally depends on difference and contrast. Thus, illusion is not deception, but method, the mechanism through which unity experiences its own depth. Yet, Ibn Arabi warns, most people stop at the illusion. They fall in love with the mirror and forget the face it reflects. The task of wisdom, then, is to look through appearances, not merely at them. To navigate this paradox, Ibn Arabi proposed the discipline of holding together unity and multiplicity, the one and the many. He called it seeing with two eyes of perception. The eye of creation perceives diversity, objects, causes, time, and space. The eye of truth perceives oneness, that all these distinctions are expressions of a single being. When both eyes are open, the world is revealed as real and unreal simultaneously, real as manifestation, unreal as independence. A modern analogy comes from quantum physics. Light behaves as both particle and wave. Its nature depends on how it is observed. Reality's form changes with perspective. Similarly, for Ibn Arabi, reality oscillates between form and essence, depending on the perceiver's level of awareness. Philosophically, this implies that truth is not found in objects, but through consciousness. To see rightly is to perceive unity without denying difference, to be lucid within the dream rather than seeking escape from it. Ibn Arabi's metaphysics is not abstract speculation. It has psychological and practical value. To wake up within the dream means cultivating awareness of how perception operates. Recognize that experience unfolds within consciousness, not outside it. In cognitive psychology, this is known as meta-awareness, observing thoughts as events in the mind rather than facts of the world. Studies on mindfulness-based therapy show that this capacity reduces emotional reactivity and enhances cognitive flexibility. View challenges and relationships as mirrors reflecting inner states. In Jungian psychology, this mirrors the concept of the shadow. What disturbs you in others reveals what remains unintegrated within yourself. Neuroscientific studies of emotional regulation confirm that reframing experiences activates the prefrontal cortex, calming the amygdala's stress response. Maintain awareness that every perception, pleasant or painful, is a divine disclosure. This awareness transforms ordinary life into a contemplative act. Practically, it cultivates humility, empathy, and resilience. You respond to events not as accidents, but as expressions of intelligence within consciousness itself. In this sense, awakening is not withdrawal from the dream but clarity inside it, a sustained recognition that all phenomena are waves on the surface of one infinite sea. You are dreaming right now is not a poetic metaphor. It is a description of reality's architecture. For Ibn Arabi, existence is the continuous self-disclosure of divine awareness, appearing in countless forms, yet never departing from unity. Modern science echoes this view. Perception, cognition, and emotion are not windows onto an external world, but models generated within consciousness. The takeaway is both rational and transformative. To awaken is not to reject the dream, but to understand its nature. When you realize that every experience, every face, every joy and pain is an expression of one being observing itself, you begin to live with lucidity, alert, compassionate, and unafraid. So perhaps the final question is not whether you are dreaming, but how consciously you are dreaming. Because, as Ibn Arabi might say, to know you are dreaming is the first sign that you are beginning to wake.